How's it going, everybody? It is your boy MaximusBlack. It has been 7 or 8 months since I posted anything on the channel, and the stuff I posted before primarily has been music-related stuff for NoPixel, which I'll still be uploading as I release new music, but I really wanted to use this channel and in a way that I think you guys can get a lot out of, and it has been content that people have been asking for almost daily on my stream. And it's something that I'm passionate about, something that I want to share with you guys and kind of document sort of this journey and then kind of see where I'm at a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, so on and so forth. And that is real estate stuff. Now, I've posted some content in the past. You guys were eating it up. You wanted more of it. And I just wasn't doing enough deals. And I also just didn't really have the time either. And I've told myself that I'm going to dedicate time every week to creating content, answering your questions, and creating a community around real estate. And it doesn't matter if you are overseas or if you're in the US or Canada, wherever. We're just going to have a discussion about real estate, everything real estate, how to buy, where to buy, when to buy, how to raise money. I mean, every step of the way, how to analyze deals. I'm going to be having other real estate investors come on the channel, tell us about their story, what they're doing, so on and so forth. This first video is going to be the newest deal that I just completed, or I'm signing all the paperwork with my lawyer in 2 days and writing the check, and I'll have the keys on Friday. So what I wanted to do is, like I did on my last triplex, which was back in 2018, I did a nice breakdown and showed you guys sort of the profits and what I can expect and broke it all down so you guys can understand it. I'm going to do the same thing for this right now. I'm going to try to make the video not as long, but I also am not going to skip the important stuff, and I really want to break it down so that you guys can understand the numbers, and that's why I'm doing it this way. As for the more entertaining type of content, I'll be starting to do vlogs at the rental properties, taking you guys to the places, especially this new one here. We're doing major renovations, showing you guys every step of the way. And the fun part about all of this is my first time doing any type of major renovations. Normally, I am buying turnkey or almost turnkey ready, but my market has become very, very competitive, and I got to step out of my comfort zone a little bit. I am excited about it, a little nervous, but I've got a good plan here. The numbers work, and I've got a good team around me. So without further ado, let's jump right into the first one. And before we do, if you guys are excited to see the real estate stuff, hit the like button. It does go a long way, and make sure that you guys leave a comment in the comment section below on questions about real estate. And what I'm going to be doing throughout the week is picking up some of those questions and answering those in the form of a video. So some of them there's videos will be a lot shorter, just sort of answering little questions here and there. And some of them might be longer, and not all of them will happen in this room, but specifically for this, let's get into it. And all the real estate nerds out there, they find this type of content entertaining. But I know some of you guys might find it a little boring. So with that being said, what did I purchase? So I actually purchased a triplex. All right, and I'm gonna really dumb this down for you guys, just in case you don't really know too much about real estate. Triplex, which means 3 units. All right, and the units are one on top of each other. So you've got a bottom unit, middle unit, and a top unit. My purchase price. So I paid $460,000 for the property, and after it got appraised, so we did the inspections, got it appraised. It actually appraised at $475,000. So right there, right off the bat, we got a $15,000 equity within the property. So it's a good buy. And today, since the market here is uber competitive, this was a grand slam deal, and I think you're going to see that here pretty soon. So with $460,000 purchase price, we have to put down 20% down payment for the bank. and that will bypass the CMHC fees. It's not my first property, so they do require a minimum of 20% down, which means we will owe $92,000 for the 20% down payment. So 460,000 times 0.20 is 92,000. And then there is a deed transfer tax, which is 1.5% of the purchase price. And that is what it's like here in Nova Scotia. Every province and or state does things differently. There might be different rates depending on the place, but here it is 1.5%. Lawyer fees. So it is going to cost me $1,700, and the inspection was $800. So in total, actually, we're just going to leave that there. Actually, I'll put a total here. 92 plus 6,900 plus 1,700 plus 800. So in total, to buy the property, it is going to be $101,400. So that's what I have to write a check day one to my lawyer to get into the property. That's down payment, taxes, lawyer fees, and inspection. And that inspection paid for the property inspection. I also had to get a water line inspection done as well, because the property is like 48 years old or so. I just wanted to make sure that the water lines were good. What else did I do? That's actually it. Just those two major inspections. All right, so there's that. But with this being said, let me give you a little rundown here of the property itself. So the property is in need of a lot of stuff to make it rentable. So right now, there is one fridge and one stove in the entire complex. So that was going to require me to get all new appliances, which I'm going to go through. But what I want to do is I want to paint a picture on why it is the way it is right now. The gentleman that owned this property, it was in his business. He sold his business, and now he's selling off the property. So there's nothing wrong with the place, but the good thing about it is it's currently vacant, and it's been vacant for months, like 8 months. There's been nobody in the place. So it's dirty, but what's nice is no one's in there, so we can get in and do all the renovations without having to work around tenants. And then also the great thing is we can pick the tenants when we get the place rehabbed, and then I can hand pick the tenants I want instead of inheriting tenants, which can be problematic. So those are good things. The biggest and crappiest part of this property is it is oil furnace heat. And since it's on one big line. So the middle unit actually controls the heat for all three units. So for example, if the tenant in the middle wanted his or her space to be 22 degrees Celsius, when they turn it on, every unit is going to go to 22 degrees Celsius. And when you're on the ground floor, it might be a little bit colder because you're on the bottom level, and then it might be a little bit warmer up at the top. And also, people can't change individual rooms. It was a nightmare. So what I had to do is, when I went in to look at the property, I had to budget in for changing the entire heating system out of furnace and turning it into electric baseboard heating. Now, the good thing about it is there's already four meters in the building. There's one for unit 1, 2, and 3. And then there's a common space meter, which I will be responsible for, which basically has, the building stuff. Like there is one washer dryer in there, the common spaces. So the lights on the front, in the hallways, there's a bit of heaters in those areas as well that I would pay for. So what we had to do, and what we're going to be doing, is we're going to be changing the entire heating system in the building, which is quite expensive. We're also going to be adding washer and dryers in every unit as well. So we have to redo a lot of the plumbing, because the plumbing was also set up to be on one system. So, and then we're going to be adding 3 hot water tanks, and the tenants will pay their own hot water. but I'll be paying for the main water line that comes in. They'll just be paying to heat their water for a specific unit. So there's quite a bit of work, and I just wanted to paint that for you guys, and I'm going to go through these costs as well. So up next, we've got, so after we buy the property, it's still not going to be ready to be rented, so we got to do the repairs. So now we're going to go into the repair costs. So here we go. First of all, the entire building needs to be painted. So not the outside. The outside is fine except for the windowsills, the doors, the door frames. They're all going to be painted on the outside. But inside, everything needs to be painted. And it's going to cost $16,000. I know I had a little bit of a heart attack. I didn't realize painting was that expensive. I mean, I've only ever had to paint like maybe 800 square feet before. And it's something that myself and my parents could do. But this is a big job, high ceilings, a lot of square footage, 3 units, all being painted from top to bottom, along with all of the kitchen cabinets. They're all being repainted. All the windowsills, there's like 25 windows, a bunch of doors. So there is a ton of paint to go. And I've got 3 different quotes, and they were all within $800 of each other. So, yeah. I went and picked the best one. Actually, the guys that I liked the most, they actually matched the lower quote. It was only like $300 less than their quote. So then we're looking at about $1,000 worth of cleaning. So after everything is done, we'll go in there, clean it. I'll pay for the floors to get all nice and waxed and make it look nice, because it's in the top 2 units. It's actually tile flooring, which you guys will see all of this when we get ready to, when I start doing some vlogs, which will be happening later on this week. Appliances, it's actually going to be $9,200. So that is going to get me 3 stoves, 3 fridges, and 3 washer dryer combos. All right. All stainless steel except for the washer dryer. But all the appliances are going to be stainless steel. These are all, I did all these numbers yesterday, but I actually went and purchased 3 dishwashers as well, which costs another $2,000, which I will add at the end because I had already done all these numbers out and I didn't want to go back and redo everything. But it's actually going to be $11,200 in appliances. But for the sake of this video, and then we can add the $2,000 at the end, we'll say $9,200 because I actually am adding the dishwashers as well. Then there's a miscellaneous cost of $1,000. Those are going to be fixtures, so I'm going to be replacing all of the handles and stuff in the kitchens, new light fixtures, doorknobs, you name it. About $1,000 in miscellaneous. That budget could go up or down a little bit. I would say it's more likely going to go up a few $100, but I just threw in $1,000 for miscellaneous. Outside and roof work, $5,000. So the roof needs new shingles, and I got an amazing deal, $4,800 for new shingles, and those are going to be put on the 16th. So I have those guys coming in right away. So $4,800. I just put $5,000. So there's a $200 buffer, which we could put into the miscellaneous, but I just rounded it up. And then the electrical work. So here's one of the big ones. It's $20,000. The reason why it's so expensive is because we're actually upgrading the entire electrical system in the building. Because each unit is now going to be having a hot water tank hooked up to their meter, because they're going to have a washer and dryer in the units, it's going to need more power. Right now, there's only 60 amp panels in each unit. We're upping that to 125. And then we're also changing the main breaker from a 200 to a 400. So there's a lot of electrical work. We had to pull permits, all that stuff, and it's a lot. But $20,000. It's going to be rewiring a lot of things, changing out, putting in a bunch of smoke detectors, bringing everything up to code, and adding the baseboard heating in all the rooms with the thermostats and all that stuff. Then we're looking at about $5,000 in holding costs. So what are holding costs? Holding costs is how much it's going to cost me just from holding the property and not actually making any money, right? So typically when I buy a property, I usually am renting it out day one. So I'm not actually having any negative money. I'm not paying anything out. I'm cash flowing. But here, since it's vacant, and I have put in a price or a holding cost of $5,000. So that'll get me 3 months, and that is actually on the high end. It's going to be right around $4,500, but I bumped it up to an even $5,000. And once again, I like to be very conservative with my numbers. I'd rather be pleasantly surprised at the end than, saying, damn, I wish I had really thought these numbers through a little bit more and been a bit more conservative. So it's a conservative thing, give or take $500. That'll basically pay for the mortgage payments, the little bit of power that I'll be using within there, maybe a little bit of water that will be used as well. And that's really about it, and insurance for the months. And that's pretty much the show, right? Insurance, let me get this right. Snow removal, they've already started doing the snow removal. So that's pretty much it. 5,000 holding costs. Could be a little bit lower. The plumbing, $16,000. Now, I went with a plumber that is on the little bit more of an expensive side. I had gotten 3 quotes done. I actually could have got one of this all done for $14,800. Decided to go with this guy, and here's the reason. It's coronavirus season. Or I shouldn't even say season. It's a year of coronavirus now, and people are extremely booked up. They are back. Like there's just too much. There's not enough people working. A lot of people's businesses went under. It's just a really, really tough time of the year to get in reputable people and get them in quick. So this guy is very well known, and his company is well known in the city. Was amazing to deal with, very responsive, and could get me in a time frame. If I went with the other one, I could be being pushed back an extra month, which is going to be more holding costs, which is going to slow down the electrical, because the plumbing here is very important because of the way that the building was heated before. It was heated with baseboard water heating. So the water would heat up, and what he needs to do is he needs to go and take out the furnace, cap all of the baseboard heating, and then the electrical guy can come in and remove those and then add in the electric baseboard. So really a lot of this work stems around the plumbing. Now, what is this? What is the $16,000 gets me? It gets me 3 new hot water tanks, 3 toilets, washer and dryer. So the washer hookups for the top 2 units. The bottom unit already has a washer and dryer. And then they have to reroute all of the plumbing in each unit and the bottom unit, because right now, like I said earlier, it's all on one system. So just the old owner was paying for everything. Now we are separating things with the 3 hot water tanks so that I don't have to pay to heat their water bill. So there's just a lot of plumbing going on here, and there's a few more things that he's doing as well, but I don't want to take up too much time talking about that in particular. We're just going to keep moving on, and I'm going to go through all of this stuff, a little bit more in detail when we get to the property. So in total, if we add up all of those, so we got 16,000, 1,000, 9,200, 1,000, 5,000, 20,000, 5,000, and 16,000. That is $73,200 in renos. So that's what it's going to cost me to get the place up to where I want it to be to rent it out. All right, which means before we even start making any money, we are going to be in for $174,600. So that's how much money I have to pay out of pocket. There's many ways that you can get that money. Either you can save up. I know that's an insane amount of money to a lot of people, but you can save up. You can pull money and equity out of other properties to help with these payments or these down payments. You can have a joint venture partner. You can use private money. There's tons of ways, and we can talk about all of those in a future video. But for me, right now, I'm solo. I'm the one forking up all of this money up front and for the better return in the end. So that's what I'm going to be all in for day one, and things start to get exciting now. So what is it going to cost me to operate this building? All right, we're going to take a look at expenses here. So every month, my electrical bill, my personal electric bill is going to be $50 roughly a month. And remember, all the tenants are paying their own except my common meter, which is just the common space. It's very minimal. It's $50 a month. That's the show. My water is about $100 a month. We get a water bill every couple of months or every 3 months, and we get electric bill every 2 months. Mortgage payments. My mortgage payments in taxes is going to be $1,800, right? So, for example, I guess I should probably go back up here. And you see how the down payment is $92,000? We're going to take away that from the purchase price of $460,000. So my mortgage payment, or sorry, my mortgage amount, so the loan is going to be for $368,000. So this is what the bank is gonna loan me, right? So from the mortgage payments from this loan, with taxes included, it's going to be $1,800 a month, and that is at a 1.91% variable, which is insane. The last triplex that I bought, my interest rate is 3.6%, right? And that's going to be up for renewal in a little over a year. So, but 1.91%, like historic lows. And the reason why I went with a variable, which means it can change from month to month. I don't think the prices to loan are going to go up at all. I think if anything, it's going to continue to go down a little bit because where the economy is and the coronavirus. But it is on a variable, and it's only on a variable I'm only going to keep it there for a few months while I do the renovations, and then I'm going to refinance and put it on a fixed term. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But as of right now, $1,800. Maintenance, I put $50 a month per unit, so it's $150. I know to some that might seem a little low, but you also got to understand, I am pretty much redoing everything in this building. Roof is getting done, electrical is getting done, plumbing's getting done, all new appliances, it's getting painted, all new fixtures, all new everything is going into this property. So the odds of something catastrophic happening, knock on wood, are pretty slim. A lot of it is going to be under warranty still, so that's going to be the bonus. But things still happen. I do have a triplex, and I know the last video that I made, I put $600 a year in maintenance for the triplex, and a few people in the comment section were like, "Dude, what? That is so low." I have spent, since I've owned that triplex, I have spent $800, so $400 a year, and some in total. That's how much it cost me in maintenance. Almost next to nothing, because it was pretty much a brand spanking new building with warranty on everything. So it's going to be the same thing here, but I still wanted to put something there. And as time goes on, maybe that maintenance goes up. There is no management costs because I manage my own properties. Some people will still like to put in a management amount just in case down the road you want to have a management company take it over. You still want to make sure that your numbers work. I'm not going to be doing that right now. Plus, even if I did, the numbers still work. So just to let you know, I did calculate that, but I put that for 8% because that's usually how much it costs to have a management company. But for this purposes, that's why I didn't add it. Insurance, it's $140 a month, and that's to start out. Insurance is actually a little bit more expensive when the place is vacant and there's renovations. Once the renovations are done and it's no longer vacant and there's people living in there, I call my insurance company back and my rate actually goes down to $110 a month. So, but I'm putting the $140 because that's what's going to cost me up front. And then snow removal, I already got the contract done. It is $100 a month for the year, even though it's only going to snow for 6 months a year. So it's $100. So it's $1,200. And that is all of the expenses. I know what you're probably thinking. Well, Jeff, what about vacancy? Why didn't you put like 5% for vacancy? We don't have vacancy here in Nova Scotia. It is a less than 1% vacancy rate in our province. I've been renting for 7 years. The longest I've ever not had somebody in there was 2 weeks. And that is simply because I was doing renovations when they were coming out before the next people came in. There is no vacancy here whatsoever, all right? But when you're putting in for, when you're doing it for you, I don't know what it is like in your area, but you should be calculating about a 5% vacancy rate, because sometimes it takes a little bit for people to turn over, or maybe something bad happens and you gotta, it's gonna take a little bit of time, or maybe there's just not a big of a demand. Maybe that 5% vacancy rate is actually 7% for your area. Maybe it's 2%, but here it's 0. And I know that because I've been doing this for 7 years in this area, and I've never ever had a problem. So when we add all that up, and even if I add vacancy on here, these numbers still work, by the way. So when I add all of this up, 50, 100, 18, 150, 140, 100, it is a total monthly expense to operate this building, $2,340. So that's how much it costs every single month, all expenses to have this place going. So what am I going to be charging in rent? So I have two different versions here, okay? Here's version number 1, rental income. In the triplex, we've got a 3-bedroom, a 3-bedroom, and a 2-bedroom. All right? All with 1 bath, 1 bath, 1 bath. So rental income number 1 is that I get $1,400 a month for the 3 bedrooms, $1,300 a month for the 2-bedroom. What's really cool about the 2-bedroom is it doesn't have the washer and dryer in the unit. If you walk outside the unit, there's another, basically like a storage room. I'm going to be giving the tenant a key that only they can use, where their washer and dryer will be, and then they'll have added storage as well. So they'll have like another, probably 80 square feet of storage space so they can store things and things like that. So they have a little bit extra space. The other units have it in the units itself. So at the very bare minimum, I'm going to be getting $1,400, $1,400, and $1,300. If that is the case, right, what we want to do is we want to take our total expenses, right, or I guess our monthly income, right, 14, 14, 13, add those together, you get $4,100 a month, but then you want to your monthly expenses. So that gives us $1,760 a month in positive cash flow. And if you times that by 12, right? Should probably see, I was doing this for me. Times that by 12, because there's 12 months in a year. That means I'll be making $21,120 a year in cash flow, right? So that is just money that I will see come back from my investment, right? Now, if we want to see what the cash on cash return is, and cash on cash return simply means the money we put in divided by the money that we're getting out each year. So we want to take this number, which is $21,120, and we want to divide that into $174,600, times that by 100. And that gives us a cash-on-cash return of 12%, which is good. That's a double-digit return. That's really, really healthy, and that's great. But with that being said, I am very confident that I'm actually going to get version 2 of for rents, which is $1,500 for the 3 bedrooms and $1,400 for the 2 bedrooms, right? So I'm just trying to think worst case scenario, but the markets are hot, rents are going up. I actually, and a few of my buddies, real estate friends, actually think I could get $1,650 a month for the 3 bedrooms. But I'm gonna wait until I see all the renovations, and then kind of go from there. But we're gonna go $1,500, and we do the same thing. If we take $4,400 in income now, because it goes up by $300, because we're making $300 more a month, and then we take away that from our total expenses, that gives us a $2,060 a month cash on cash return, which is $24,720. We take that and we divide it by the 173 or 174.6, which gives us a 14.15% cash on cash return. So that is really, really good numbers. That's really good. Now, with that being said, I got to put a lot of money into the property, and it sucks to have that much money locked up in one spot, because theoretically, if I could take some of that out, I could buy another property and make even more money. And that's what I'm going to do. So let's get into the second part here, and we're going to talk about the refinance. So once I get everything rented, and this whole strategy is called the BRRRR strategy, which I'll talk about in a future video. I don't want to make this an hour-long thing. It's still probably going to be 45 minutes, but so we're going to refinance, which means once we're done all the work, once we're done all the work and I have put in $73,000 in renos, it's going to go up in value. And what we do to try and figure out the estimated after renovations, the ARV, the after renovation value, is we look at the comps in the area, the comparables. And I actually have a triplex that's a few blocks away from this, that's worth over $700,000. But I'm being very conservative when I say this. Remember, the property was already appraised now as is at $475,000. We paid $460,000. There's $15,000 in equity right there. But assuming that the floor right now is at $475,000 and we're putting in $73,000, and I'm looking at the comparables, I went with an estimated ARV of a $600,000 purchase price. That's how much I believe the property will be worth at a minimum. And I'm being conservative. All right. Hopefully it comes back at that. If it comes back a little less, it's really not going to make a massive difference. If it comes back at $575,000, it might even come back at $425,000, $440,000, $450,000. Right now, this market is so crazy and prices are going up so drastically that I really, truly don't know where this is going to land, because, there is a triplex that sold around the corner for $490,000 in worse shape than mine. And that needs a lot of work. So we'll see. I put in for $600,000 estimated value after it's done. So that means the bank is going to loan me 80% loan to value on the new amount, right? So for example, they're gonna give me a mortgage and do 80% of this price. So 80% loan to value. That would be a new mortgage of $480,000. So remember, before, our mortgage is we're borrowing $368,000. Now we'll be borrowing $480,000, and it'll be on a fixed 5-year rate of 2.02%. So I've already have all this worked out with the bank. You want to make sure that you can get pre-approved for a refinance after renovations. Sometimes banks require you to have a seasoning period where you do renovations, you rent it, and they want you to have it for 6 months, 9 months, a year before they're actually willing to refinance. My bank is just willing to refinance it once I get it rented and have it reappraised. So if the appraisal, new appraisal comes in at $600,000, they're going to give me 80%, which is $480,000, and which means that I'll be able to pull out the difference of $120,000 in equity. So remember, right? I'm putting in $73,000 in renovations, but I could possibly be pulling out $120,000 in equity. We take $120,000 now that I'm pulling out and take away from the $174,000 I put in. Now in this deal, I only have $54,600 in the deal, right? And now I have $120,000 that I can play with again, go buy another property, etc., and then make up more. But with that being said, now our mortgage payments change, which means our cash flow is going to go down because our mortgage payments are going to go up. The expenses are still all the same. The way to operate the building is still the same. It still costs the same, but that mortgage payment is going to make a difference, and the taxes will eventually go up a little bit as well, as things updates. It usually takes about a year or 2 years before the province changes the tax on the property. So, and the tax change will be fairly minimal. But let me give you the new. I have this all written down here. The new expenses, okay? And I already have all this broke down for you. So still the same, 50, 100, but the new mortgage and tax payments are $2,300 a month. Before, it was $1,800. So it's costing us $500 more when we pull out $120,000 in equity, right? So now our total expenses each month is $2,840, where before we pulled money out and say we just left the full $174 in, it was $2,340, right? So $500 more. And then we go and take a look at everything again. For the rents, version 1, same amount, 3-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom, $4,100. We take away that from that, and we get a total monthly cash on cash of $1,560. So that's how much money I'll be making each month passively after all expenses, which is $18,720 a year. Now here's where it gets spicy. $18,720 divided now into what we have in the deal. Now we only have $54,600, right? Times 100. Now we are looking at a cash on cash return of 34.2%, which is a home run. Pretty amazing. And if we, let me see here. Oh, shoot. I messed up. That was for the 41. This is my bad. It's actually 1260, 27.6, and version 2. That's my apologies. Version 2 is $1,560 a month, 34.2%. So if I'm getting the $1,500 for the 3 bedrooms and $1,400 for the 2-bedroom, it'll be 34.2% cash on cash. If I'm getting the lower, it's 27.6% cash on cash return. So we're getting $1,260 in cash flow and or $1,560 in cash flow. And of course, as time goes on, those rents will go up and appreciation will happen as well. So that's just for the cash on cash. I'm going to add one more thing here at the end that we did not take into consideration. Principal pay down. Now, our mortgage payments might be $2,300 a month, but we'll say half of that is actually going to paying down the property, which is what we call principal pay down. And that basically works like a savings account. So every month, your tenant is paying off your mortgage, and then you can, when you go to sell it, you can recapture that, or when you go to refinance, you can do that as well. Or if you set up a new term, you can refinance and pull it out. So about half of that, sorry, I lost my train of thought. About half of that is going to the principal, which is about $1,150 a month, which I'm making as well. Now, I don't see that money every month, right? I'm only going to see that when I refinance or sell, but it is there. So after the 5-year fixed term, I can pull out all of that 5 years of pay down, right? Which is $13,800 a year. And every year that goes up because as you're paying down your mortgage and that interest, you're paying off less interest and paying off more principal as time goes on. That's how the amortization works. And all of this is on a 25-year amortization, by the way. So then if we look at a 3% appreciation a year, that's another $18,000 a year, right? So say if it's worth $600,000 and we do 3% of that a year, we're making another $18,000 a year. Now, when we add up our $18,000 a year plus the $13,800 in principal pay down plus the I'll even go on the we'll go here. $18,720 in cash flow. That is $50,520 a year in what we're making. But remember, we only have $54,600 in the property. That is going to give us a yearly return, right? A total return on investment of 92.5% a year. So after just about 1 year and a couple months, 1 year and a month, we have not a paid for property, but our return after that is infinite. And that's where you want to be, where I have all the money I put in out, and now it just makes money. And I have nothing in the deal, right? Except for some sweat equity. And now we have to, look after the property, make sure tenants are happy with the place, and make sure it's a great place for people to live. What is nice about this neighborhood, and you're going to see this when I start vlogging a little bit later on the week, it's a beautiful place. At the end of a cul-de-sac, there's like a little lake there. It's like a water view, big lot, lots of parking space, big units. It's a really, it's a rough gem right now, but it's a gem, and I'm going to turn it into something great. So this is the deal. By the way, this 3% appreciation, I want to talk about this for a second. That is absurdly conservative. This year alone, my portfolio has gone up on average 17% in appreciation. Just this year. Last year it was about 9%. This year it's 17%. A few of my properties went up as much as 22%. Our area is going insane. Interest rates are at an all-time low. Demand is at an all-time high. We have a lot of people moving into the city. We have a lot of money coming into the city. And I think the rest of Canada is realizing that, like, oh my goodness, Halifax, HRM area is starting and is wanting to catch up to some of the other bigger cities in terms of what real estate is worth. So that 3% appreciation is extremely conservative. And I just put that there because I never buy properties based on appreciation alone. I don't even look at appreciation when I'm doing the numbers. I only do it at the end. It's got to make sense for today. It's got to cash flow. It's got to make me money today. And I got to try and find some way to add value at this point so that I can pull some money out, because properties are getting more expensive, and you only have so much capital to work with. And I want to be able to keep pulling out so that I can buy more places. So there it is. That is the breakdown of the triplex. Hopefully this makes sense to you guys. I'm really excited to do more of this content. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button. It really does go a long way. Leave a comment in the comment section below if you guys have any questions about what I just showed you here, or any questions in general about real estate. I am going to be making more videos. I actually have a Discord group that was just created that I'll talk about a little bit more down the road. Make sure to follow me on Instagram. I'm going to start posting more real estate related stuff on Instagram. And I am excited about this. And I also just want to document it to see where this ends up here in about 3 months' time. If my numbers that I projected are close, whether I was too conservative and I do better, or if I've done a little worse, maybe things pop up and I have to pay a little bit more than what I was expecting. I really just want to make this public to you guys and keep myself accountable, and also just share the experience with you guys, and hopefully you can learn something. Real estate is incredible. I've been doing it now since 2000. Well, I bought my first place in 2012, and I started renting out, I think, in 2015, 14 or 2015. So yeah, it's been like going on 7 years. And so there it is. I knew we were going to hit the 45-minute mark, but this was a total breakdown. This was an absolute breakdown of the cash on cash and the total return on investment, and how I plan to refinance. Future videos, I probably won't go into as much detail unless you really want me to, and I'll just do main bulletin points. I'll just say like renovations, boom, 73, and I won't go through every little thing, or the rents, version 1, it's 4,100, and I'll just make it a little bit faster, but really want to break it down so that you guys can really see it, and it's easier for me to articulate it as well when I'm doing it this way. So hopefully you guys get something out of this, and look forward to the first vlog that's going to be happening in a couple of days, and we'll go from there. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.